So just another quick tip here. If I was to do this again, the first thing to release is this clamp. That's a 16 mil there. If you release that a bit, then there will be some movement in this joint which will allow you to remove the exhaust from the front a lot easier than the way I did it, because I did it with this tight, which meant it took a bit of force to push the exhaust out. But if this is out, if this is loose, and also this here, these two 13 mils here, you will get much more movement and flexibility at the front. So just a tip there, even for myself, if I was to do this again, release these three things first, and then you can get the exhaust release at the top. Hi there everybody, and welcome to another video. On today's video I have this Mercedes A-Class 2016. This is an A180 petrol, and basically I have this dreadful fault code here that says P06DA00. The actuation of the valve of the oil pump in the combustion engine has an electrical fault or short circuit. So as far as I've done some research on it, what basically is causing the problem is this cable here. So I spoke to Mercedes, and they sold me this part, and they also told me that most people are buying this together with the solenoid that connects to. Apparently the solenoid usually is okay, but if you're gonna do all this work, it's a good idea to change the solenoid as well. So those two particular parts, the part numbers are those there, and the whole thing is not really expensive. I think it was about £55 altogether, but we need to remove the sump to access that part, which is sitting apparently somewhere around here, because I've been doing a bit of research on it, because I just had no idea of how or what that fault code referred to, but it seems to be that there is a cable that connects just up there and into here, and this needs to come out in order to access it. So there's a huge exhaust here, kind of blocking the access here to remove the sump. So somehow we need to lower this exhaust or pump the engine up a bit in order to get some leeway to be able to take this out. I don't know how much room we need, but we definitely need to do something here. So it's either the exhaust has to come down or the engine has to go up, and this sump is connected all the way. This is part of the sump here basically, and it's bolted onto the gearbox as well. So we need to remove these bolts here. I don't know how many there are. There's another one there, probably this heat shield, and well, this exhaust bracket here, maybe we can disconnect it from the exhaust. If we pump the engine up with a jack, maybe disconnect this mount here, and we might need to disconnect the engine mount at the top. which I think there is one, in order to be able to jack it up a bit. And we may have to jack it up from this end really, because we can't really use the sump. And it looks like we have to disconnect this as well, maybe these 2 bolts from this sump. And the first step would be to, I guess, to drain the oil and take it from there. So I will film as I go along, if I'm able to film. If not, this video won't exist. But if I can film the procedure somehow, then I will. There are other videos out there. Other people have made videos on this, so there is plenty of information out there. So just you can find good info as well. So it's good to watch a few videos before you do the job, and that way you get a better idea of what you're doing, and obviously avoid any damage or any problems. Okay, so far I've decided a slightly different approach to the one I sort of planned before, and that is to lose the 3 nuts that hold the exhaust up here. So far all I've done is, well, I disconnected this from there, just press on the clip and it comes out, but that was just to give me a view of down there. And I remove the oil, the air filter cover here, and just taking it out of there, and also remove this heat shield. So that heat shield was just held in by some of those star type of bolts, was it an E14 and an E12, right? So this type. So that's an E12, and the other 2, these 2 are E10s, and the one on the side here, well, the one on the side, by that I mean this one here, the one that holds this thing here is an E12, and you have to loosen it here as well, otherwise you can't lift this up. And the reason I took that off is because it gives you access. This nut, there's 3 of these nuts. There's one there, and then there's another one just sitting down there, and you'll find another one hiding somewhere back there. But you can just get enough access from here, like so. And then you can see that this actually moves quite a bit. It can move substantially. So what I'm hoping is that once I loose it from underneath, I'll be able to remove it from here if there's enough room. Just be careful when you do that. There is a gasket here, so don't want to damage that gasket. Anyway, so far that's what I've done. Not really much progress here, but now I'm gonna go underneath, and I think I'm gonna have to remove the AC condenser to see the wire that connects to that other cable, because that is what it's connecting to, although I'm not sure we have to connect it or disconnect it. Not entirely sure. Maybe we can do it from inside of the sump. So we'll have a look. My main priority right now is to remove that sump to get access to this. So the other approach, if that fails, is gonna be to loosen the engine mount here, and like I said, push the engine up. So anyway, we'll see how I get on. So just another update here. I've loosened the bolt from here, another E12, and I loosened the 2 that hold this exhaust just there. So this is quite flexible to move now. The only thing is trying to push it that way is getting blocked by the sump. So we might need to loosen all the sump bolts, drop the sump a little bit, and then that should slide in between the sump and this, obviously the block there, the engine block. So it is quite flexible now. We only want it to come out a little bit. I may even try to bring it down now, but we'll see. It really looks like it needs to slide sort of that way to the right, so the sump is on the way. I also removed these two E12s here that hold this AC. May not have to remove the entire AC or the belt at the moment, I don't know. So that's just the update here. Now I haven't drained the oil yet, so I'll drain the oil and start loosening the sump bolts and see how much space we need here to play around with. So another update. I removed all the sump bolts. They are E10s, I think. So, well, I removed most of them, I think. Even these ones here. There's one there, another one here. These are bigger. These are E14s. But in order to access this one here, I had to remove this pump. And to remove this pump, you also need to undo these E10s here. But I just put these E10s back in there because I'm getting so many bolts. I'm going to start forgetting where they go. So if I can keep some in place, I will. And also, I have another 2 to remove here. 3 actually. These are okay, I can access because I can move the exhaust. I need to remove this one as well. And we'll have to possibly disconnect this one here. But also I had to remove this mount in order to access the bolts that are in between here. Now this thing here, it's blocking one of them, and this one here is blocking another one. But if you use the very small skinny extension, so this is what I use, this really skinny one, tiny little ratchet with a flexible sort of head here. I managed to get those 2, the one in between here and here, and then there's one in the middle. The one in the middle is okay, you can access, but yes, I had to remove that. And those bolts are an E18, that size. So I actually removed the one from there as well, so I can move this a bit back to give me room. So managed to get those, and so as I can see, I need to still do that, and another 3 there. Probably I'm going to remove this thing here, maybe yes, maybe not. It's a little bit on the way, but not so much. Oh, by the way, the bolts I accessed in between here, I actually used, instead of the E10, I used an 8mm socket because I haven't got a tiny E10. So you can also use an 8mm on these bolts, but just be careful it fits properly so you don't round them. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove that as well, and that, and then those 3, and we'll see if I can loosen the sump. Then we have an idea of what we need to do to get it out. Okay, so just another update here. I removed, there are 2 bolts here as well. There's one there and one there. They are longer than the others. The others are all the same size. And what I've been doing is I put this screwdriver against that bit there, and I've been tapping that in with my hammer, not too drastically, but just enough to put this knife in. I got this knife in the side there, like so, and tried to cut across a little bit of the sealant. So I just went like so. Obviously it takes a while, it's a pain in the neck, but I just tried to cut a little bit up to there wherever I reach, and also on the other side, pulling my screwdriver down a bit, I can just access here. So I did the same on that side, and now now I've been able to start moving this. If we can see here, it's getting some movement there, so I might be able to start getting this loose, because I can see now much more movement around. So it might take a while, because this must be stuck here as well with some of that sealant, and obviously on the other side. So this is gonna take a while, but you just need to be patient, because you don't wanna damage your sump. You don't wanna break these little flaps either, but that's the only way I found to get something in there. So I might be able to get another flat screwdriver if I can open this a little bit, a small one somewhere here, and then start wiggling until it gets loose. So let's see how I get on. Obviously, if I have any other tips or something is not working, I'll let you know. If I break something, I'll let you know as well, so you try to avoid breaking anything. But so far it's kind of going okay. I still have to drop the exhaust, so that we'll see in a minute. Just a quick update here. I managed to disconnect the exhaust from here. It was a little bit of a fiddle because there is that coolant pipe on the way, so you have to be careful with this pipe here, and because when you're pushing this to the right, it gets stuck with this, so you kind of have to move the exhaust with something else a little bit towards you while you push it out of here. And also, in order to remove this heat shield, I had to disconnect the wire. So the wire is just connected in the back here onto this, press the clip there and disconnect it. It's also, it goes into this bracket here, just held in there, but you have to take it out of the bracket and disconnect it, and then you can remove that heat shield to give you a bit more view. Now the only thing is, I don't know how on earth I'm gonna get this back up and reconnect it to here, because it seems almost impossible. So I may need to remove the center support of the exhaust, so I can have a little bit of movement. Again, we'll have to see that as I go along, because well, it's the only way I could get access to that, be able to remove that sump, I think, is dropping the exhaust here. And the other thing will be, if it's not down enough, may have to lower the subframe. So a bit of a pain in the neck, really, all of this. Anyway, let's get on with it. Okay, so well, this is where I found, got the car up, and as I dropped that, sump was hanging down. I disconnected, or I undone the two nuts from this part of the exhaust here, because I think I may need to put this up when refitting the cat, because I need to bring it forwards towards the car in order to be able to lift it up. So, but as far as it goes at the minute, if you get a crowbar in your up here onto the cat, between the block and the cat, and bring it forwards. So let's have a look at this. So what I've done just now is I got my crowbar in here and just push the cat a little bit more forwards, because it's kind of leaning on the block. So you want to get it off the block a little bit. That's going to bring the exhaust a little bit forwards, and it's going to come down a little bit more. And that will be enough room for you to wiggle this sump out of here. You need to just get it out of that side there, and hopefully we can get this out of here. So that's the idea. That's what I'm doing, trying to get this out. But there's some oil in here actually. It's dripping onto the floor. So I'm gonna try to get my oil pan in here. Okay, managed to wiggle that out. And I got my oil pan, so a little bit of oil still dripping. So just be careful not to damage this plastic. So just take your time when you're taking it out. And if you made it this far, well done. So the threaded cable that we want to change is this one here. The one that's sitting right there, this black cable here, is connected to that solenoid here. And that solenoid, apparently, it's not really faulty, but everybody recommends to change it as you're already changing all of that. So we can remove the solenoid, remove the wire here. That little wire will just disconnect. So what we need to do is push the little push that back a bit, and then you'll be able to take it out. And I can see 2 torques to take this out. Now the only other thing, that cable is plugged in right up there. So that will be a challenge. Because that's the cable there. It clearly sort of it looks like it plugs into place, and then the wire, you have a cable connecting outside of this on the side. I thought it was on this side, on the front, but it's actually in the back. So how am I going to pull this out? I'm not sure. May need to make some room here, so may need to remove the wheel and this splash guard to get some room and access to the connection that's connected to this, because we want to unplug that, and then we want to remove this. and it's gonna be a little bit awkward. So I don't think I'm going to be filming that, but again, I'm gonna try to do it, and if I get any tips on how I did it, then obviously I'll put it in the video. But that is what we need to do now. So this goes without saying. Just remove the 2 Torx screws, remove the little solenoid, and put the new one in. That is job done. And then that end will plug onto the new solenoid, and the other end is where we are gonna have some fun, or not. But anyway, that might be the least of our problems. The actual problem will be refitting this exhaust. So I don't know. Anyway, also don't forget, you're gonna need to clean all the area around where the sump was. Get rid of all the glue to reapply the new glue when we refit the sump. Okay, so I removed the wheel. Now if you look down here, or in here rather, that there is the wire we want to disconnect. So again, pull that white bit back, press the clip, and try to disconnect it that way. So I already pulled the clip back, so now it's just a matter of, well, pressing the clip and trying to get it out, obviously. So push that back. And well, that's the idea. I'm gonna need my 2 hands for this. Okay, so what's happened so far? After I disconnected the wire up there, with this here, I got up there and tried to get this sensor from here. So I managed to pull it out a little bit, but it was kind of just snapping, very brittle. In fact, this part of the cable just came out. So it just popped out like nothing. So nevertheless, I don't really need that. You see, that's the new cable there. Just make a note of the way this is coming out, although it's kind of breaking apart a little bit, but I don't know if you can see it there. A little bit blurry, but it seems to be coming out somehow. Have oil dripping. This here, if my camera would focus, would be nice. So that's the switch there, which I'm trying to take out somehow. All right, and that part snapped as well. So I wonder if I'll be able to push that forwards, considering it's not coming out this way. I thought it would be coming out backwards, but clearly not. So it kind of snapped. Here's the bit. Maybe it's supposed to snap, and then you can push the other part forwards. I don't really know, but give that a go. So I'm gonna try to push it forwards and see if I can get it out. Okay, so here it is. I tapped it a little bit on the back and it went out the other end. So now we have a hole there, and we really need to the hole up there. So I think now I need to push the new one in. But the way the old one was, it was like this. So if you look at the hole up here, it was like this, not like that, not like that, like this, with this flat area there, the flat area facing the engine on the left. So now I need to push that in, and it's obviously gonna stop with this. So maybe it is meant to brake and then come out forwards. So anyway, it's just a matter. I'm gonna put a little bit of oil on that O-ring so it can slide a little bit better. But now I think we can get that in there and plug it. I still need to do the solenoid, so I'm gonna do that now. Okay, so today is another day, and I am trying now to fit the new cable. This is a new cable here. I just put it up there. I put it in the hole there, and I'm gonna try to press it in with this tool. Today's another day because I was getting a bit tired doing this yesterday, and it's a good idea to have a rest, because when you start getting tired you start breaking things. So now it's time to push the sensor in through that hole. Like I said, I'm going to use this long tool here, help me. And I already fitted my solenoid. This is a new solenoid, so be really careful with these porks. I think these are T20, as far as I remember. I think I used a T20 for that. Don't know where the tool is. Right here. There, T20. So there's the old solenoid there. There's the cable, all broken in bits. And so now it's time to press that in. So like I said, have a brake. And also another thing, the exhaust is gonna be pretty hard to pull it up. So even though before I had the idea of separating this area here, I think I noticed that there is a joint here of the exhaust. So I think I can open this bolt here, separate the exhaust from here, so I can bring the catalytic up. If I leave this like this, it's going to be impossible to bring that catalytic up. And another thing you're going to need is a sealant. You're going to need a sealant to reseal this sump to the block. And we need to clean a little bit of the old sealant there. So anyway, a few tips there. So obviously I will let you know what works and what doesn't work for me anyway. Now I'm going to push that sensor in. I put grease on the sensor and I sprayed it with WD-40 to make it easier to slide in. But everything is easier said than done. So I'm gonna go ahead and do it now, and we'll come back to it. Okay, that went in. It wasn't as tragic as I was expecting it to be. Just I just pushed it and it kind of slid in there, possibly thanks to the WD-40 and the grease, and then I plugged that onto the solenoid. So now I'm going to lower the car and make sure that the other end up there. So I'm gonna plug the connection that goes there, make sure it plugs in and it doesn't push the switch back out. So that way we know it's secure. So I've been cleaning the sump here, just making sure this is got no old gasket on it. This is the kind of gasket we're going to be using. This is for valve covers or oil pans. It's just a sealant. So you want to clean it all around. I've been just scraping it, something like this. But you may see a lot of it is going in there. You definitely want to make sure all of that is nice and clean, because once we top up with oil, obviously all this, if you leave all of this stuff here, it will be sucked up by the oil pump, and then you can your pump can become blocked or anything like that. So just make sure you clean and get rid of all the stuff there. I've done the same on this end. I cleaned as much as I can all around. It's a little bit difficult obviously, but just need to take your time and just try to get rid of all the bumpy bits. We're gonna put new sealant anyway, but obviously we want to avoid any leaks, because if there is a leak, even a minor leak, you might not like it and you may have to remove everything again just to get rid of the leak. So if you do it properly now, you don't have to do it again. So I'm gonna get on with that, cleaning the pan now, and then we're gonna apply the sealant and I'm gonna fit this back in there. Okay, so I managed to plug in the cable to the sensor. No issues there. It's gone in and it's secure. So with that on, you can go ahead and fit your sump. However, I went a little bit ahead of myself and fitted the sump already. So all I did is, as you know, I cleaned it and put the sealant and got the sump back on there. But I should have really plugged that in before doing that. It's just I don't know, I went a little bit, I started putting the sealant and then remember about the connection up here, and I had to just put the sump on, because otherwise the sealant will start drying. So anyway, now I'm going to get the car up again and pull all the sump bolts in. So I'm in the process of putting the bolts. You can see the sealant on the side there is coming out a little bit, here as well. You can just about see the sealant I use is not black like the one this car had. So anyway, it's a fiddly job from here on. I'm gonna start fitting everything back. Don't think I'm gonna be filming much anymore, but I'll try and give tips on anything I find, especially fitting the exhaust back That's my main concern here. So also when you put these bolts, just remember they're only tightened to about 8 Newton meters or something like that. When I loosened these, they were almost like not even tight. So again, be really careful with these sump bolts. They can snap like butter, so when you fit them back, make sure you have a torque wrench or something to tighten them, and you don't over tighten them basically. And also check all tightening torques. You can research all of that online. I'm not doing it. I haven't got the time, and haven't got time to start putting it on here, but I obviously work with cars all the time, so I have pretty much an idea of how to do, how much force to apply. So if you're not familiar with how much force to do, it's better to use a torque wrench. Otherwise you will snap this. I have in the past, and it's just a nightmare, because then you have to spend another 2 hours drilling the little bolt out and whatnot. So just avoid yourself problems. This job is long enough. So anyway, let's carry on. Okay, so one last tip here. I managed to get the exhaust on here. Two things. There is obviously that water pipe down there that is obstructing. It touches the catalytic converter and it obstructs the movement. So when you're trying to fit this back, it's at an angle. So with a crowbar, I kind of wedged it down here. Obviously that down there is sort of a strong area of the engine, so just make sure you're not damaging anything there. That's what I did. Just had a look there. So my crowbar was wedged in there, and pushing this down a little bit this way in order to line up this bolt, because it wasn't lining up. This one was lining up, but this one wasn't, because it was at a bit of an angle due to the obstruction of that pipe. And then so I had my friend holding that down, and with a plastic hammer and that there, I put that there and I tapped it in. And it went in. So that's how I did it. Whether, I don't know if it's the correct way or not, but it did work. It went in. And but another thing is, I did lose the clamp that holds all this section onto the back exhaust. So as I showed you earlier, there is a clamp. I did release that, and that gave me a lot of flexibility. Well, not a lot, but it was easier to move these back and forth, up and down. If that clamp is still on, then you are kind of pulling the whole exhaust. So on that note, I am going to now fit. I think this is the hardest part, apart from removing the sump, which takes a while. From now on, it's a matter of remembering all the nuts and bolts that we removed, fitting everything back. And then the last thing is, I'm gonna clear the forecoat. This forecoat was not clearing. It would not clear. So hopefully now that I replaced the wire, that is supposed to be the problem. I didn't actually check it, but some people check the resistance and they have found that the wire is a problem. So I just went ahead and replaced the wire, and the solenoid obviously. So the forecoat, I could not clear the forecoat before. Now obviously if I can clear it, then we have solved the problem. But my video is mainly concentrated on how to get access to that cable, and how to remove the sump and so on. I didn't exactly do a lot of fault finding to make sure that is the fault. However, it seems to be the case. So anyway, it's done. No point debating too much about it. So like I said, I'm going to start fitting everything back. Just have to remember where everything goes now, and then and then we'll delete the full coat. Okay, I finished. I put oil. Don't forget to put oil, obviously, because we drained it. So I think this car is 5.8 liters, but obviously check your car. Anyway, that's what it is for this car. Now gonna get it started and then gonna. Okay, so the OBD is now checking for errors, and car is at the moment running fine, smooth, and in a minute, after I check this, I'm gonna check for any oil leaks around the sump, and that will wrap it up for today, and hopefully we have solved the issue. So I'm gonna wait for this to finish. So it's nighttime now, but I had a problem with my OBD. It wasn't connecting to the car and it wasn't reading the fault code. So I used another OBD and the fault code was there, but I was able to delete it. So I can confirm that the actual job that I did actually fix the issue with the with that fault code. So I just wanted to say that because I couldn't really film anymore because my OBD wasn't connecting, and then I had to borrow another OBD from someone else and whatnot. So it got dark. It's now nighttime. But anyway, I'm happy to say that at least, although my main purpose of the video was to show you how to get to that part, I am also happy to say that it actually did get rid of the fault code that I had. So having said that, I do hope the video helps. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.